You know, for over a century, one book has consistently been called the greatest novel ever written. And it's this massive 900-page story about Russian aristocrats, forbidden love, and, believe it or not, farming. So what is it about Leo Tolstoy's Anna Karenina that gives it such incredible, lasting power, even today?
I mean, you really can't get a bigger endorsement than that, can you? When a literary giant like William Faulkner, a master storyteller himself, doesn't even have to think about it, you know you're dealing with something seriously special. And trust me, he was not alone in that opinion.
So what is the secret sauce here? What makes this story, set way back in Imperial Russia, feel so intensely alive that it just completely transcends time and translation? Well, as we're about to see, the answers are in its revolutionary structure, its radical approach to character, and its unflinching look at the biggest questions we all face in life.
Let's start right where the story does. The very first sentence of Anna Karenina is maybe the most famous opening in all of literature. And honestly, it's like the philosophical key that unlocks the entire book. It's one of those lines that it feels like a universal truth the second you hear it, right? It's so simple, yet so profound, and it perfectly sets the stage for a novel that Tolstoy himself said was all built on the idea of the family. It's amazing how much heavy lifting this one sentence does. Notice it's written in the present tense, like it's a scientific law. But the rest of the novel? That's all in the past tense. The story is literally the proof for his law. It also kind of throws out this challenge, doesn't it? Be happy and boringly alike, or be unhappy and uniquely interesting. But here's the real kicker. It's a hidden spoiler, because as you read on, you realize there are no truly happy families in this entire book. Happiness is the goal, unhappiness is just the messy reality of it all. Okay, so beyond that incredible opening line, Tolstoy's next stroke of genius is how he actually built the novel. See, it's not just one story, it's two completely parallel novels woven together into one. And this contrast, it's everything. On one side, you've got Anna in the bustling city. She's this high society woman who just blows up her entire life for a passionate love affair. And her story, well, it ends in tragedy. On the other side, you have Konstantin Levin, who was basically Tolstoy's alter ego. He's out in the countryside on this deep philosophical quest for faith and family, and his journey ends in a kind of quiet, hard-won contentment. It's like two different answers to the exact same question. How are we supposed to live? And this structure is it's genius. By running these two lives side by side, Tolstoy gets to explore his themes from every possible angle. Anna looks for happiness through desire and passion. Levin looks for it through duty and meaning. They only meet twice in the entire 900-page book because, well, they're on fundamentally different journeys. So we've got this incredible structure. But what makes the people inside that structure feel so real? I mean, so breathtakingly real. For that, we've got to look at Tolstoy's mastery of a technique called literary realism. Realism was all about finding the drama in everyday life, you know? No over-the-top melodrama, no fantasy. The whole point was to make the story feel completely 100% true. And while a lot of other authors were trying to do it, Tolstoy absolutely perfected it. So how did he do it? Well, it's kind of like this three-part secret weapon he had. First, he uses an all-knowing narrator who can just dip into anyone's head at any time. Second, he basically pioneers a form of stream of consciousness, letting us hear a character's raw, unfiltered thoughts. And third, he breaks a rule that every writer hears today. He doesn't just show, don't tell. No, he shows us an action and then tells us exactly what that action means. He leaves absolutely no doubt. This quote from the critic James Meek just nails it. By having the narrator report back on what's going on inside a character's head, Tolstoy creates this incredible feeling of objectivity. It stops feeling like one person's biased opinion and starts feeling like the undeniable truth of what they're thinking and feeling. It's amazing. And this super realistic style, it wasn't just for making the characters feel alive. Tolstoy was using it to hold up a giant mirror to the hypocrisy of 19th century Russian society, especially when it came to how it treated women. And this is where we get to one of the most powerful and honestly most modern themes in the whole book. The double standard is just staggering. So Anna's brother, Steva, he's a serial cheater who faces almost zero consequences. But when Anna leaves her cold, loveless marriage for the man she actually loves, society absolutely destroys her. She is shunned, she is isolated, and she loses everything. Most painfully of all, she loses her own son. You have to remember, A huge part of Anna's trap was the power of institutions like the Orthodox Church. Back then, the church controlled divorce, which made getting one technically possible, but for a woman of her standing, socially impossible. Her husband held all the cards. And Tolstoy uses these really potent symbols to connect Anna's personal tragedy to the huge changes happening in Russia at the time. The train, this new symbol of industrial modernity, shows up at all the key moments of her story. It's where she first meets her lover, Vronsky, and it becomes the instrument of her final, desperate act. For Tolstoy, who really valued the natural world, this new mechanical force was a powerful symbol of destruction. So, okay, when you start putting all these pieces together, the deep philosophy, the brilliant structure, the incredible realism, and that sharp social critique, you start to see why this novel's legacy is just so immense. Think about this. Towards the end, she's standing on the train platform, totally isolated and in despair. And she has this one last heartbreaking thought. She has nowhere left to turn. Society has kicked her out. She feels her lover's passion is fading. It's just a moment of complete and total anguish that captures the crushing weight of her tragedy. And I think that's where the real power of the novel comes from. It just refuses to give you easy answers. Tolstoy doesn't paint Anna as a simple hero or a villain. She's a deeply human, flawed person, caught in an impossible situation. The book doesn't offer a simple moral. Instead, it just shows us life in all of its messy, complicated, and beautiful glory. So, why is it the greatest? Because it works on every single level all at once. It's an unforgettable, tragic love story, but at the same time, it's a profound search for meaning. It creates characters that are so three-dimensional they feel like they could walk right off the page. And it tackles the huge questions that we are all still asking today. What is love? What do we owe society? And how in the world do we find meaning in our lives? And really, that's the question the novel leaves you with. By showing us Anna's tragic pursuit of passion and Levin's quiet search for purpose, Tolstoy forces us to look at our own lives. It doesn't offer any easy answers, but its true genius is that over 100 years later, it still makes you ask the question,